Hello learners, what a great day it is to learn science. So buckle up and let's start our lesson. Our objectives for today is, first, we will describe the characteristics of an element and a compound. Then, we'll distinguish elements from compounds based on a set of properties. And lastly, we will classify substances as either element or a compound. Let's try this first. Have you ever encountered these words before? We have elements and then compounds. Well, maybe you have or maybe you haven't. How about let's try another activity to see what we know about these words, or are we familiar with these words? What can you see in the picture? Okay, now can you tell if that picture shows an element or a compound? You can write on a piece of paper. Just write if your answer is element or if your answer is compound. Now how about this picture? Can you describe me what you see? And tell me if this picture shows an element or a compound? Great! That was our activity. So let's see if we have the right answer. Here in our first picture, we see a hand and that's right, lots of carbon. And carbon is an element. Fun facts about carbon: carbon can be natural or man-made. Ever saw a burnt toast before? Well, the black part or the burnt part is actually carbon. Going back to our topic, what are elements? Well, elements are made up of atoms of the same kind. Now, remember that atoms are the building blocks of matter. Elements are also the simplest type of matter and cannot be broken down into components. Then, each element is unique, and no two elements have the same set of properties. In the picture, we see a carbon rock and a diamond. Did you know that they both have the same atoms? They are both made up of carbon, however, they differ in structure and properties. And that's what makes them unique. Some elements are metals, like iron, gold, and silver. Others are nonmetals, like nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and there are elements that are metalloids like boron, silicon, and germanium. Some are in the same state, but they have different properties. Elements are somehow like people who prefer to be alone. Now, I think we're all familiar with the periodic table of elements. So this table, or the periodic table, simply shows you the elements found here on Earth. We have gold, we have iron, we have oxygen, so many elements we can see here on the table. Now that's all for elements. Now let's go back to our activity. Remember our second picture? Here's our second picture. What do you see? Yes, smoke. And those smokes are made of carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is, yes, that's right, a compound. Another fun fact about carbon dioxide, we humans also produce carbon dioxide as we breathe or as we exhale. Now, what are compounds? Compounds are a combination of two or more elements. Compounds can be broken down into its components through a chemical process and form when two elements are combined. Compounds are somewhat celebrities. They prefer to be with their fans. Here we have an illustration that will help us to understand better what's the difference between elements and compounds. So we can see circles here, and what do they signify? They are atoms. Here we use them as atoms. We have under the elements, we have the white colored atom that signifies that it is for What element? Na? That's right, sodium. And then we have another element, signified by the orange circle, which has Cl in it. Cl is for, yes, chlorine. So, chlorine and sodium are elements. They are two different elements, and then we cannot break them down any further. However, compounds, as we said before, compounds are a combination of two or more atoms or two or more elements. So here we can see that we've combined sodium with chlorine, and we have the thing called sodium chloride. And then sodium chloride is actually, in layman's term, it's salt. Let's have another example. We have elements and compounds here. Under the elements, we have the atom O, which signifies for oxygen, and then H, which signifies for hydrogen. Now, like we said, these are elements because we cannot break them down into simpler means. They are the simplest form there is. And then, compounds are a combination of these two. So we combine oxygen, one atom of oxygen with two atoms of hydrogen, we get H2O, which is, that's right, water. So water is a compound. Let's have another activity. This time, you tell me if the words below is an element or a compound. We have sulfur, ammonia, sugar, salt, boron, fats, silicon, and manganese. You can write this down on a piece of paper. Now let's see if we have the right answers. So we have the left side for elements and the right side for compounds. And under the elements, we have sulfur, boron, silicon, and manganese. Then for the compounds, it's sugar, ammonia, salt, and fats. Well done, learners. That is all for our class today about elements and compounds. See you next lesson, and don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube and Facebook page.